Hello, and welcome back to Stonewood Endurance AFK build Trap Tunnels, and we're going to be doing my amplifier A. So this obviously might be a different letter for you. So if you're looking for a different one for A, just check out the playlist for that. But this is the home base over there, and this is the amplifier just to the south of it. So just on the map, just to show you where it is. This is my amplifier A, and we're going to be doing the east direction. But to show the spawns, so we have a little spawn on this mountaintop, I guess you could call it, up here. And then the rest are going to spawn across there a bit further back. And so they're going to want to come all the way across there. If you have put an amplifier here, this might help a little bit. But I don't think you would probably have put it that far out. But yeah, you'll get them trying to come down there. Then these will come try get down here. And the ones up here may have tried to come through this bit, but obviously we blocked this off with our home base build. So what we're going to do is just funnel them all through this main path here that leads directly to the amplifier and block off the other side. But I'll show the blocking off afterwards, of course. So yeah, there's the spawns, and what we can do is basically just put a bunch of stuff above the spawns, like tar pit traps and ceiling electric traps and such like that. But for down here where the actual main trap tunnels are going to be that lead towards the amplifier, if we give them this path down here, and then what we'll do is similar to what we've previously done, is sort of build around it. And what we'll do is we can place traps in these side bits. The husks won't actually be able to get in there, so if we put low walls like this, that will stop them from trying to get into these side bits. But we can put traps in these as well as on the ceiling through the entire thing. And then with this bit here, this is basically where we're going to be leading them down. So what we want to do down here is place walls around the higher elevation. And that way we can use, damage them as they come in. Here we're going to put a low wall because we can use broadsides across and then deal massive damage in the middle as well. You're probably not going to get too many come to this left side, but there is spawns this sort of side, so they'll probably go down this side. But the majority of enemies will come down this side. And then as we go down, there's probably no point putting a wall there because I don't think it will be low enough for the enemies to trigger it. Whoops, I can't even jump back up. But this one here will get triggered. So for that one, you could either keep it as a low wall and do wall dynamos again, which might actually be the better way to do it. So I'm going to keep it like that, actually. And then across the entire trap tunnel here, we want to get ceilings to get our, ceiling damage dealing in. And then at the top here, we're just going to basically layer floors around pretty much this entire thing. Because, as I say, the enemies will be spawning like up here, down there, and up there. So they're going to come through this entire area. They don't spawn up at this top bit, so we can put floors here. But roundabouts this area, we can't put floors. But we can put them up here and down here as well. So they're going to spawn up there and drop down. You could put some here, but we're going to save the structures and stop there, I think. And then we can get walls wherever we can to get more damage. So we'll just continue this over to here. And get some here as well. I'll obviously cover blocking things, if we want to block certain areas when we get to that. They can't actually get up here, so we don't need to block this, but we will be adding certain stuff up there just to, stop flingers and lobbers and the such. So down here is kind of just up to what you want to do, really. So, yeah, as I say, it's up to you. What we're going to do is build, 2 big tunnels for them to go through. We could probably bring the walls all the way down to here and there and another one there. The ones that drop down into this area will just come down the side and then come this way. So we don't want to put a wall here because this may incentivize them to start breaking through areas. We'll leave that a bit open. And then through the middle, we will do the low walls to put wall dynamos on, and similarly through here. And then for the ceiling in this area, we're actually going to be building quite high up and put ceiling tire traps down because that's going to, knock them back, deal loads of damage, and those apply from a height. So they're generally better put higher up So, as I said, for down here, you can mix it up a little bit if you want. If you want to sort of zigzag them, you can go for that. I tend to not want to do that down here just because you might get smashes trying to break them. I think it should be absolutely plenty of damage down here doing it the way we've done it here. And I think that should be enough for the actual floor pieces. So now what we need to do is basically get some of the ceilings placed down for our ceiling traps, as well as just in general having the lobber shield combined in. So if we build these walls up like such across here, pretty much the entire way across, we've obviously got this naturally built like this, so we'll just carry it on around. And then at this point, they're probably not really going to be doing much. We can just add a little bit extra to maybe there. You could probably do one more if you wanted. This is mainly at this point to block flingers, from standing here and flinging to the amplifier. But it partly, acts as traps as well. So if we place floors, ceilings, I guess it combines in both. So we stood on it, so it's a floor, but it's a ceiling for the enemies down below. We want to take this quite far across, so you can go probably about here, maybe one more if you want. It depends how many structures you have left at the end. You can get rid of some of this if you need to, but this sort of ceiling is just going to be placed over pretty much the entire area. Just one thing to note here is when you get to this point, this is a spawn, so we don't want to place floor here because the enemies can then just spawn here and they'll just go, oh, I'm just going to walk across here and go to your amplifier. I don't know why they sound like that, but they do. So, that's something I can't control. What we can do here, though, is build like that, which will obviously not connect, but it'll be good enough. But we can place walls like such, and then at this side, walls again. And if you really want, you can build it here and bring it across like that. It's up to you whether you want to do it at this side as well, and bring it across the whole thing. But basically what this area is for this spawn, and we're going to place, wall darts on it and then some ceiling traps above. It will also, as I said, counter as a flinger shield, so they're not going to be able to fling from here. We'll get huge damage on them when they spawn, and then they'll drop down into our tunnels and obviously get huge damage dealt to them down here as well. So if you're wanting to save on structures, it's Stonewood, so the enemies aren't going to be super high level. So you can sort of strip this back a bit, take it one further back, that sort of thing. You don't have to go as far right here as you if you don't want to. But if you're in the situation where I am, where you just sort of end game and you've got pretty much plenty of everything, then you probably want to just build it pretty much exactly as I have done. Then what we're going to do is sort of work on our flanking control. So our amplifier is there. So once we've placed the walls, we want to get our cones, but we're going to edit it so it's facing away from the amplifier to stop the enemies from wanting to break through. We'll do that here, and then another layer. Oh, whoops, I just placed another one above. Didn't mean to do that. All the way across, and then just make sure you're covering the back side of it. Hopefully you didn't laugh at that. If you are, then you've got similar immaturities to myself. Then one last layer back here, making sure you're also placing in between them, so you've got this sort of grid pattern going, and then walls at the back. For this area here, you'll sort of see this symmetric shape, if I can go up high enough. Probably want to place a wall there too, not the top one. We've got like a 4 and a 4 connected together. It's like a diagonal shape. And then once we have done that, we can do the same sort of thing where, it's up to you at this point whether you want to bring it here and then make the walls go that way, or if you just continue the walls there. We're going to bring it and just connect it to where we've built. So bring the walls over here. But we're also going to be building up here to block them, and just basically all of it wants to be blocked. And we can put, I don't think they can squeeze down there, so you should be all right not placing a wall there. If you really want to, you can place this here. The only issue you might have is, like, say up here, if they broke through that wall and you had one there, they could just walk over the top of it. But I guess for completeness, we'll put one there as well. Again, you don't really need that front wall, but I just kind of complete this for OCD. I'm going to put it in, but I don't think you do need it. And then from here, we will just continue making this. So once you've got this higher one placed up, we can place another one next to it. And then if we go backwards from here, we can then bring these across, because we want to sort of like stay close to this area here. So if we keep bringing it close to the edge, and then once you've moved back one here, just bring it across and keep filling in the grid pattern as we have before. And at this point, this is probably going to form part of your trap tunnels for your amplifier down here, or the one over that we're actually doing for the south direction. We're going to sort of be covering that in that video anyway. So depending on which one you're doing, you probably don't have to go too far back with it. For this corner bit, you probably want to just reinforce the corner a little bit by putting another one either in front or behind. We're just going to put it in front and leave that as it is. Then once you... Whoops, I meant to land on the top. Once you've got this placed, you can get some more walls down. So I'm just going to tiptoe across here. The reason being is because we want to stop the flingers and lobbers from being able to do their thing. Probably up to there, I would think, would cover it. They're not going to be able to get it from... I mean, you probably don't need that one, but we're just going to put it just in case. And that should be enough to cover that side. And I think we covered this side fully as well. So as far as structures go, I think we've got everything placed down, and we should be good to move on to sort of doing the trap things. With this, with this area further over here as well, you might want to just place these just to cover basically any husks that do try to break in these areas. We can put traps on these. Probably don't need that one actually. That's up to you. You could potentially just carry on that one more. And we'll place damage stuff on here just to stop any enemies that do come wandering over. They haven't got an invitation into our house, so we need to stop them from coming in, basically. And yeah, that should do it. So I'll cover the traps after I've leveled all this stuff up. As always, you don't need to level it up if you don't want to. But yeah, I'll cover what perks for the traps to use and so on. And then once we've done that, I will show where to put the traps. So I'll see you in a second. Thank you so much for watching to this point. If you are enjoying the video, please do let me know in the comments. But also, I am on the Supporter Creator Program, so if you could please use my code CAMIG, and be sure to subscribe as well to get all future videos. Thank you so much. The anti-air trap 1 range on there for durability. Ceiling drop trap, so we're going for a crit build on this one as well. Ceiling electric field, we're going for a crit build once again, you know it. Floor freeze trap, so for this one we've got 2 impact and knockback. Floor launcher, so for whacking all the impact and knockback on there. Tar pit trap, so for this one I like to go for full durability. Wall darts, another crit build, another all-rounder build. The wall dynamo trap, so for this one I've gone for energy. Wall launcher, so for this one we've got 3 impact and knockback. Wall lights, so another 3 impact, 2 reload speed. Wall spikes here, we've gone for crit build, so 2 crit rating, 2 crit damage. Wooden floor spikes, so crit build on this one, that's pretty much... Alright, so now that you've placed everything and got it leveled up, I just wanted to note one thing over here. So in this area we had 2 sort of deep holes here before. This one here, I've just placed a floor underneath. I can show it. Can't really get underneath, but you can see the floor through the the sort of translucence there, and then extra walls and just one more. Just because this wall here actually leads straight through, so just to stop the enemies from wanting to break through that wall, we just added an extra little bit. So I just wanted to show that before we start putting traps down and so on. So for the traps, yeah, we're going to start back here at the amplifier, and once I've placed the traps on, I'll show you a little sort of smasher build we need to build. But I'll save that for the end. So what we'll do at the very end here is just sort of a last ditch, just in case anything does make it to this point. But again, it's Stonewood. Your traps are really high level, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You can put floor spikes here even if you really wanted to. But yeah, we want to put dynamos on these small walls to deal damage as they come through, and then wall darts on the sides. And then in this area we want, on the ceilings, we want I think I made some at level 77 just to not waste too much, so I want to use those. Ceiling zaps at the sides, and in the middle we want gas traps. So yeah, I've got some level 70. I don't know why these are stacked differently, but yeah, gas traps to do massive damage to anything that does make it this far. Probably just smashers, really. Let's be right. Let's be honest. Just realised there's a hole there. We probably want to patch that up. Just put a wall. It's one of those situations where I don't think the enemies can actually make it through. You might want to put one at the side as well. You could probably actually do both sides and put traps on them if you want to. Just a little bit of sort of ad hoc traps being added here. Up here we want darts, so I don't think I actually made any lower darts. So I'm just going to craft some real quick. Just to avoid myself from wasting too much high level resource. I'm just going to use the lower ones because the traps get capped anyway. So yeah, I did not mean to put it there. Darts at the top as we come through. And then these side ones we've just placed down, we will want to get broadside traps. So level 77 because it's going to get capped at like 79 anyway. I don't think these ones will trigger, but we're going to put them down anyway just because we have loads of traps. So why not? Then as we come through, we can focus on the ceiling here. So as we come in, we're going to do zap traps. Reason being for these two is that when enemies are sort of stood around this area, they will trigger these and it will, affect the enemies in this area. So it's great to get them. And then as we come down this hilly area, we will use the tire drop traps because that will drop down and the tires will roll down with it and damage anyone in front of them. Here, you don't really need traps there. I mean, it's not the best area for it. It's up to you. You could do a broadside, you could do wall darts. It really doesn't matter too much. I'm just going to put wall darts there just to do a little bit of extra damage as they come past. And then in these two middle bits, we want wall dynamos on these. So let's get some of those placed. I've just made some lower level ones, not to waste my 130 ones. And then on the floor as we come through, we will do floor spikes because we want to deal damage as they start to come through. And that fills this area and the area below with the traps. Now, for this area up here, we're basically just going to place wall darts where there aren't two walls facing each other. So this one's obviously facing an open area. That one's facing an open area. Through here, these ones all at the back are facing open areas. So we put darts on those. And then on these two. This one here, we can actually place a broadside on. The music stopped. It's very eerie because that's going to ping back and forth between that wall. And then through this entire thing down here, we want broadside traps because we have two walls facing each other. Now, I know we have the low walls in the middle, which is probably going to make this a little bit weird because they will fly over and then bounce back, but it'll still ping them back and forward between the low walls, so it'll do huge damage still. And then on this one, probably just go for wall darts to get anything, as it's walking up this hill area. On the floor through this entire thing, we're going to go for floor spikes because we want to just deal damage, but slow them at the same time. So that our ceiling traps and wall traps can both be, doing huge damage for longer. So it's going to slow them, but it also deal a little bit of damage. So just on all of those. And then through here, obviously the only option for this is the wall dynamo. So we'll grab our level 77 ones and pop these through the entire thing. Oh, I hate the fact that there's no music in the background. I broke off for so long to level up the metal. That the music's just stopped and I hate it. It's really eerie. For the ceiling traps, so we're going to start on these platforms where it's raised because wherever we have the raised platform, we're going to do the ceiling zap traps and basically pretty much the entire area. One thing I forgot to say when I was here is that you can extend this out if you want to do even more damage, if you're noticing that you're not doing as much damage, but again, it's Stonewood. We don't really need to do that sort of thing around here. So yeah, we're going to place it around this and then one block out because these ones will zap inwards to the guys up here and also the guys down there. So we're doing double the damage. And then where it's a bit further out, we will do tire drop traps, which I'll just place while I'm here so I don't have to come back. So we'll just place those. It doesn't matter too much where you're facing at this point. You know, ordinarily we'd like face inwards as they come, but we're not doing any other damage here, so it doesn't matter too much about which way they're facing. At the end here, it's a bit more important because we want to push them away from the walls if they are, you know, trying to break through. So for these ones, we'll make sure we are facing that way. And then before I place any more, I'm just going to come up to the hill up here to make sure we put the right traps up here. So zap traps all around this area. This entire closed off area we're going to do zap traps. And then at the sides we want wall darts. If I can reach to place them. Oh, I don't think I can. I'm going to have to sort of jump off and place it and then come back up. It's kind of annoying. Oh, I thought I could stealth my way, not stealth, but I thought I could skill my way back up. But I'm not as good as I thought I was. Oh, it's probably easier if I was on mouse and keyboard. Although I'm terrible with mouse and keyboard, so maybe not. And then, can we place it from down here? No. We're going to have to go back up once again. Feel free to skip this bit, you know where to place them. Enjoy placing them down. I know I did. God. Okay. Then for these extra areas, you don't really need the traps here because they're going to be sort of moving towards the left. So it's up to you. It's mainly for a flinger shield. What I'm going to do is just place it on the very inwards ones. So it's pretty much all of them. It's just that one that isn't being placed on. Let's just place it down anyway. Screw it. Why not? And then here, placing the tire, trap. And then throughout this entire thing where, you know, there are ceilings left, we're going to do the ceiling drop traps. Here I'm just going to make a point to be facing towards, where the husks are going to be heading, just to make sure these ones do push them. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Just to make sure these traps do push them back, because, this is where we are doing floor damage, wall damage as well. So we want the enemies to be in there for longer. I tried placing one on that piece. That's not how that works. I think that should be everything then for the ceilings there. Then we just want a few up here where, the key points where the enemies are going to be breaking through. I don't think I have any lower wall spikes. I'm just going to use these ones. Just want to focus. Probably don't need to place it on all of them. You can pay attention to where they try to break through and such. But for what we're doing. And as I say, we're going to be covering this with the other side, but, if you want to add extra blockage here, feel free to go ahead now. And then in these bits here, if I can get to the traps, we're going to place gas traps on those ones, and these are already covered by the tire traps. Gas just because it'll affect all the enemies that come into it, because the gas is like an area of effect, and it does huge damage. So I think that covers all of the traps. Hopefully I didn't miss any, because there is a lot to do here. This is one of the bigger areas. So yeah, all that's left is the sort of smasher build. So if you see my twine video on the home base, you'll know we made a bait and switch. Now the purpose of that one was actually to keep the smashers busy and keep looping them round. We don't need to do that here because the smashers are so low level in Stonewood compared to our traps that we don't need to go that over the top for it. All we need to do is just give the smashers something to work towards. Give them an objective. Give them a purpose in life so that they don't go angry and start smashing our trap tunnels. So all this does, it's a pretty similar build to what we built in Twine, but because it's not a storm shield, it's a little bit different, and it's not going to be connected to any sort of high-flying ramps that we need to place light traps or anything. So all this is something for the smashers to smash. They'll see that it looks like the amplifier is being protected, so they will want to come all the way through our tunnels to the end. If we didn't have that there, the smashers would see these structures as the nearest to the amplifier. They'd get here and they'd start smashing those instead. So to avoid that, we build this. The smashers will die in the tunnels. Don't worry about that. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So there you go. The south. That's not the south. This is the east build for Amplifier A for the south direction. So we've done the east direction, but we've done a lot of the work needed for this direction now, so that's, you know, that's good. So yeah, we're building the south. So for the south, they pretty much just spawn throughout this entire area down here, you know, just behind this amplifier. And I think a little bit closer as well. They tend not to avoid this close. It's mostly further back there. And if you have that amplifier down there, it's sort of going to be a joint spawn. So the stuff that we build here is going to double for the spawn down there. So, you know, that's a nice little 2-for-1, little buy one, get one free for you. A nice little treat. So for the build here, we're going to scatter some traps around, you know, where they spawn. But the main trap tunnel up here, we're just going to sort of repeat the same sort of thing we have done in the past. So we're going to bring them up here. And basically, we can leave this as a low wall, actually, if I do that properly, if my fingers work. And then over here, we're just going to bring them forward from here. And this is, you know, same sort of thing we've done here. We're just going to replicate this sort of design. And what you can actually do is if you make this a low wall, this trap here will double into this trap tunnel. Another buy one, get one free. God, we're full of offers today, aren't we? And then as we go through, we can just do the whole thing with low walls at the sides, because what we're going to do is then have full walls behind those all the way to the bottom, and we will have the wall darts on those. So yeah, good stuff. Probably put that as a low. Well, actually, I don't think you need a wall there, to be honest. Let's get rid of that. And then ceilings at the sides. Well, and for the main thing, obviously, as well. We want to get as much damage as we can through here. This needs to be a full wall to, you know, avoid... Well, we could put damage there, but, you know, it also avoids flingers doing their things as well. And that is good. Get some walls down here as well to get extra damage. I'll probably cover off the blocking off in its own section. You know, this will just be the main trap tunnels built. So let's actually get back in there, make sure we've got everything we need. So you might want to do low walls sort of between these. You probably don't need to do it all the way down. That's kind of up to you. And then at the end, you know, again, that's up to you if you want to put one there or not. I don't think we need them there. The reason being for the low walls is we don't want the enemies to sort of, you know, instead of coming down here, we don't want them to want to come through here. But to be honest, I don't think you need them. So if you are running out of, you know, structures towards the end as you're building your last amplifiers, you can get rid of some of these if you want. I'm going to put full walls in these two though. So the reason being is because as the enemies come up here, I don't want them to want to break through here, and, you know, smashes especially. But I want to leave this one down so that we can utilize the ceiling trap here for enemies that come up. Even though it would be quite useful to, you know, have it like that. I'm going to leave this one full, actually. I'm changing my mind. Sue me. We're going to put broadsides on that because it'll be really effective. So that basically tops off the trap tunnels there. As for down here, we're going to put walls at the sides here, and over here we can get some as well. Now, we're going to be having like traps up here when it comes to building for Amplifier D, so you don't need to do too much for this, because as I say, we will be covering that sort of thing when we get to that. You know, you can build it all the way across if you want for now, and then just break it down when you get to that amplifier, however you want to go about it. And then for this area, this as I said, this is the area where they will be spawning, so you can build stuff down here as well. So for example, you could you know, get some walls going like this and sort of alternate those like so. Just making sure that you do stagger them, because if you just do it all like that, they're just going to walk down in a straight line. You can also make some blockages like that, for example, you know, to make them have to go around. It's honestly up to you at this point. I'm going to put one there just because this is the bit that leads in. I want to sort of make them go a bit further if I can, and maybe just, you know, honestly, it doesn't really matter. You can sort of wing this. It really doesn't matter too much. The main thing is that you want to get walls looking at each other. So wherever you put a wall, about 2 blocks away, you want to put another one, because we'll do broadsides, flinging traps against each other. So I think I'll just sort of leave it like that for now. You can, as I say, put, walls like this to force the enemies to have to sort of zigzag their way through. I'm not sure if they can walk through this area here, because I can't, so I assume they can't. But I'm not 100% sure on that. And then we'll probably just put another one there just to give it more to bounce off. And you could probably put like a wall there or something on that side. It doesn't really matter too much. Most of our damage in this area is going to be coming from above. So, speaking of above, we want to place traps down this entire area. Ceiling traps, that is. So if we build walls here, this will sort of be our edge. And then what we can do is just bring it over here as well. And what we'll do is build a ceiling across this entire thing, pretty much. We're not going to be putting traps on all of these. Not every single one. Now, usually we wouldn't connect to this. So if I put like floors here, usually we wouldn't do this because husks could then walk on top of our tunnels. But as you can see, there's no way for husks to get up here. This isn't a spawn area. So if it ever does become a spawn area in the future, obviously you want to disconnect that. But for now, it's not. So as far as how far you want to go for this, it's up to you. They are going to spawn in pretty much this entire area, and it will be for Amplifier D as well. So don't be put off by the fact that we're using a lot of ceilings here, because it's sort of acting as our Amplifier D blanket for the spawn as well. So, as I said, it's sort of a 2-for-1. This is where you definitely want to avoid placing it too close to the top. For this area, whether you want to put one here and here, I think you should be fine because we've blocked off them, being able to get to there. And in fact, yeah, I'm going to cover it. Just especially for the case of flingers, we don't want to give them a little window where they can throw, enemies through. And we have blocked. If you want, you can build another, set of blockages here. So, just the same sort of strategy, building like that. I don't think you'd need it, but, just for peace of mind for you guys, I'll build 2 there. Whether you want to replicate that or not, that's up to you. And then up this area, obviously husks could walk up here, but where they're going to go, they're going to come up here, and this is, the trap tunnels were built for the east direction. So don't worry if they're going to come up here. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing they can do that's going to, harm us or anything. You could just build a ceiling there just to do a bit of extra damage, but as I say, you don't really need that. And then as for walls here, we don't need any because they're not going to be able to fling from here. So that should cover it for the sort of lobber shield across the entire thing. And as I say, where we'll put traps. So it's a lot more gloomy and dark down here now. That's a bit creepy, isn't it? Over here, we want to just cover this to stop enemies from being able to circumvent our trap tunnels, because this leads to this area. We don't want them to be able to get through there because that's going to defeat the whole point of those trap tunnels. And then once we're at this point, if we edit this back so we can do this a bit quicker, get these all the way across like so, we can get our blockages in, whatever word you want to go for. Pick your favorite one, and we'll go with that. And just make sure they can't get anywhere. Make sure that's that direction though. We don't want them to be able to sneak through anywhere like this and, go around to a different area. I mean, we will have traps and stuff here for Amplifier C, obviously, but we want to stop the area that they can get through. You could put another layer here if you want. You probably don't need it, to be honest, but and the fact that it's like, into the mountainside now is going to make things a bit weird. But, just for extra protection, you can go ahead and put those there. And this area here will stop them from being able to flank round. So, yeah, I think that covers everything that we need to take care of. We've already got the smasher bait here built, to force them to come through the tunnels. So I think we're set now to actually go ahead and level this stuff up and start placing traps down. If I did miss anything because my memory's poo-poo, I will let you know, don't worry, in the next section. You probably want to just put a wall there, just for completeness, more than anything else, really. As I said, for this area, you know, we've got the main stuff sort of set up, and you know, for these areas, we have zigzagged them a little bit. But if you want to play around with adding some more stuff in, honestly, be my guest. Like, go for it. We might put one there. Just experiment with it. This is the sort of area you guys get to have fun and experiment and just, you know, sort of play stuff around willy-nilly and go for it how you see fit. Thing leveled up, and you're ready to place your traps. Just one thing I wanted to add here. Hello. Just one thing I wanted to add here is just this wall here, just to extend it so that when they come up here, they have to, you know, go a bit further to get hit by more traps. It's just small, and it's another thing you can do here just to make it so that enemies can't just, you know, sort of squeeze around the corner. It's not overly necessary and it's not too important, but I thought I'd just show that before going with the rest of it. So yeah, we've got all this stuff leveled up. So we'll actually start, if I go all the way back up here, we'll start right next to the amplifier. So this is, you know, sort of dangerous territory where we want to stop things absolutely, you know, if they get to this point, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to happen, is it? Just because of how crazy our trap tunnels are. And then we'll place some ice traps there as well, and then at the very entrance to this thing, we want to get some floor spikes down here as well. You could even place a floor here, to be honest, if you want. The only thing is, in this area, stuff does start to spawn, and walls are a bit safer. You know, these probably will go after a while, just because the way things work in Save the World is when, you know, those tendrils come up and stuff spawns, it destroys structures. Floors are the first to go because, you know, they are very wide, whereas walls are very thin, cover a small area, so the walls can survive a bit easier. So you could try placing more floors if you want, but they will probably get destroyed. I think this one might be safe because they do tend to spawn a bit further back. But yeah, just wanted to cover that real quick, just so you know, you guys know. Then for the ceilings in here, we want to use I want to get the bottom level ones because we are in Stonewood. At the sides, we want to get the ceiling electric fields on all of these. As they come up here, we're probably going to go for ceiling. I can't even speak. It's gone down to 61. I didn't think it got reduced by that much. You might be better off using 130 then, but I think it should be fine with this sort of thing. Then as we come a bit further up, we want to go for ceiling gas because we want to get that massive damage. Then through here we want a tire drop. So we're going to put one, making sure we're facing forward because that will knock them back down here. Then as we come in down here, we want the ceiling electric field because this will affect, you know, this wider area, which is what we want. For wall traps, anywhere where we can down here, we want to get wall darts at the back of these little cubbies, these little, you know, areas. As long as it's facing to where the enemies are going to be standing, we want to get them in there. Like, for example, this one over here, there's nothing we can do here to actually damage the enemies, so there's no point placing anything there. Then on the low walls, we're going to get our dynamos again throughout this entire thing. On every single one, it's going to be huge damage if anything does make it this far. But they're not going to anyway, so, you know, it's irrelevant. On this one, we want wall darts because it is just a straight shot out into the open. You know, there's nothing to bounce off, so we don't want broadsides. Same there, because we have the low wall, it makes it a bit more awkward to do broadsides. But down here, we're going to use broadsides here and there. Down here as well. I think you could probably put one there, to be honest, and it'll shoot some out. And place a wall there if you really want to. I'm not sure about the full-on effectiveness of that, but go for it if you want to. Feel free. And then a wall lights trap here just to blind anything that comes into this area, to stun it a bit longer and then it can get bounced about, that type of thing. Once we get out into this area, we're going to follow the logic of if we have two walls facing each other, we'll use broadsides. So these two would use broadsides. This one's close enough over there to 3 blocks away to use broadsides, you know, here. But where there's not, like this one here's 4 blocks, we'll probably just do wall darts. So I'm going to place wall darts first. You can skip forward if you know where you're going to be placing these, because your walls might be a bit different than mine. But if you have placed them in the exact same place as me, obviously you'll probably want to watch this whole thing just to make sure you are putting them in the right place. I think we'll place wall darts here for now, but I think we will have a wall there eventually, so you could swap that out. That one's just facing into the open. That one's got one opposite it. That one is a bit too far away, I think, so we'll put that there. And we'll place one there, and just make sure for these ones you leave these ones open, because this is where we're blocking, so we want to put the wall spikes. Same there, and on this one we want the wall spikes on those. Put wall darts there. These two are facing each other. I think that should be it for the ones that don't want broadsides in the build that I've gone for anyway. And then for the rest of them, yeah, we'll go for broadside. So just double check as you're placing that you do have a wall facing it to make sure that it is going to be doing the best damage possible. But otherwise, just slap them down. I am going to be just turning around each time just to make sure. I want to make sure these bad boys are efficient as they can be, you know what I'm saying? I think we missed a wall darts here, actually. This one should be wall darts. Place that down. And then go back to our broadsides for these ones. Lovely stuff. Absolutely huge damage in this area for the enemies. This one should be wall darts as well, actually. I'm not surprised that I've missed some because there's so much going on here. It's quite difficult to make sure you do cover everything. All right, and then that one's a broadside. I think that's all the walls covered. Just sort of get a view from above to see. While we're doing walls, we can go ahead and place the spikes on these, actually, just get that out of the way. And then I think all that's left is to cover the ceiling. So we've done it in here, we've done all the walls. So all that's left is to do the ceiling here, where apart from this one up here, where I'm going to put gas. So if I get my gas traps, all of these ones are going to have tire drop on them. There's no real point in putting ceiling electric field. We just want to drop tires down everywhere. Apart from these ones here at the very back, these ones are just to stop flingers. You don't need tire drops above these because obviously it's just blocked. So I'm going to show myself playing them, but I'm just going to speed up the footage here because I don't want to waste your guys' time too much. So I'll obviously just speed forward. You'll see me placing these down super quick. I did actually mess up on the first ones. It's not overly important which way you face, to be honest, in this situation. The closer you get, the more important it is. But you want to make sure you're facing the amplifier. So in this case, I messed up at the start and I was facing away. But if you're facing towards the amplifier, it means enemies will get knocked backwards away from the amplifier. So that's what you want to be doing. So as I was placing those, I did actually mess up on this one. You don't need one there. You can get rid of that because that's not going to affect anything. You don't need to put one on that one. But yeah, we've placed them in all of them. Hopefully that was nice and fun watching me do that at like triple speed or whatever it'll end up being. But that should be the rest of everything you need. The only thing I can briefly show, just in case you haven't seen the other video, I'm not going to place it again, but just make sure you have this design. So all we've done is made one of these thin walls, and we've just placed it the entire way around, and then one above as well. And then as well, importantly, in between, we have an archway higher up on all of them, and then finally at the top we have a low wall like this on top of those arches all the way around. So as I explained in the other video, I'll just explain briefly here, is this is to give these smashers something to do so that they don't smash up your trap tunnels. So instead of coming in here and, you know, breaking all these walls here, they'll come to here and aim for these. They're not going to make it this far. They're weak, and our trap tunnels are absolutely strong. So, you know, they're not going to make it this far, so don't worry about that. That's why it's not a switch. It's just a bait. It's just to get them to want to come this way. So yeah, that covers the trap tunnels. So we've completed our Amplifier A. On to the next one next time, which will be Amplifier B. So check out the playlist for that. Make sure you subscribe and comment and all that good stuff to make sure you see those future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.